Hey, so you want to make Flash puppets? It's pretty simple. I'll make this short tutorial. Here's some examples of a Flash puppet, so we can see what kind of have already made. We'll just look at this one. So we can see that there's a lot going on here. If I scroll this up, I'm using Adobe Animate 2018. So that's a new one. So right now I'm just this layer has a little hammer kind of symbol on it. That means that it's a guide. So guides won't show up when it's rendered. When you output it as a video, any guide layers will not show up. So right now I'm just taking my guide layers and hiding them with the little eyeball here. Just going in and hiding them so we don't have to worry about them. I use them for walking loops, so you can see that this leg is walking. We can drill into the head here by double clicking inside of it. We can see that they're inside of the head by main, the whole symbol, and then inside the head. This is my base puppet that I can recolor and change into other ponies. But Control A, and I got all these little bounding boxes show all the different symbols that are part of this. The red line is not part of it, but just to show the layering of where this hairline should be. It's the main will go underneath the ear. So layering is like, if you played Photoshop, you would know that things up top are higher up in a way than the skull, which would be at the bottom, like a stack of papers. This would be on the bottom. It does take a different kind of skill to draw versus making these into puppets. So inside of the mouth, I drew it inside by double clicking from inside the head into mouth. That's what this is. And here's a inside of the symbol. These are all different frames. So we can see mouth, nostril, mouth outer, tongue, and inner. I could have done this on one layer, but I decided to have it be on multiple layers just for a little convenience, so I can have the nostril be in the same place and I know that it'll always be in that same place. So yeah, what I'm doing here is going back and forth with the less and minus keys on the keyboard, which are the comma and period keys, to go between different frames here without using the mouse to drag the playhead here. A little keyboard shortcut there. So as we can see, I got different mouth shapes, so I could do lip syncing and different expressions with it. If I wanted to animate it later on, and I want to say, oh, I want her to open her mouth a little bit, with the newer version of Animate, this frame picker window will show up. But you can always come off here to the properties and just enter a number here, but you won't be able to see visually what it looks like then in here. If I wanted the big smile, I would see that here it is in 14. Otherwise, I would have to go through here and go through all of them, see what I wanted. Nothing too big, but that's how you would kind of animate. Before getting too far along, let's see how to convert drawings into a little puppet that technically would turn into this. So I made a new file here. If I was to really do this, I would have Google some reference pictures, Google Images, what the character that I want. I could just really quickly just draw something, maybe something similar to what we got, just a little sketch right here. We'll just do really bare bones here. So let's say that this is my character that I want to draw. So this is a cute little thumbnail sketch. So I might put them over there, make a new layer down here. Your workspace might look a little bit different than here, but that's okay. We can always go into Windows and then go into all these and set it up the way that you like it. So what I'm going to do is go in and carefully, maybe like go in here and then say I want it to be a bit green or something. Fill that in. This is not going to look pretty, but we're just going to show the basics of what we're doing. Now I'm going to press F8 F8. We're gonna marquee it by selecting it. I'm gonna press F8. This brings up this convert to symbol. This will be huge to make puppets. And as before that we saw, the other thing was called a skull. This is the skull here. This naming convention might be pretty important, so I'm gonna call this pony skull. And pony will be the name of the character, and then what part of it? The skull. We want it to be a graphic. If it's a movie clip, you can add different filters on top of it, like blurs and drop shadows, but it won't animate outside on the timeline in real time. You'll have to render it out as a SWF file, and then it'll show up, and then have those fun filters. So graphic is basically what you want. So now there it is. Now it's a pony skull. Go into library, which is part of window library. Show up there. Inside of here it says pony skull. So if I ever wanted to again, I could just drag these out as many times as I want. And if I change this one, like I want it to be, this fill to be like blue, it'll change this one as well as anything else. These are now instances because they're still called the same thing. But if I go in here, right click, duplicate symbol, now I can change it into a copy of it. Now if I change this one and make it back into green, now because it has a different name according to the library here, we now have two of them. So now this one is a copy, and now these ones are the same as the first one that we made, the blue one. This would be good if you made like one eye really good, but you want to have it a little bit different, like maybe they, I don't know, they have different eye colors, but you like the drawing of it really good. You can duplicate it and change it and fill or anything that you want inside of it. Let's get rid of this. Don't need these guys. I'm gonna delete this, bring back our original pony skull. We're not gonna drill inside because we want to stay on the scene 1 layer. We could label these like Photoshop, but we don't have to. Next I can do the face. So I'm just gonna draw a cute little eye here. And then fill it. And then just for now, if I wanted to, I could make another layer with the pupil, whatever you want to call it. Draw that in. Now it's a different thing. It's on a different layer. So I can call this pony pupil. Go in here. Pony eye. Yeah, let's not call it eye. Because I might call the whole thing the pony eye. So this is pony eye, what would we call it? Sclera? Sclera is the white of the eye. So you gotta know some basic anatomy here, I guess. Now I'm just gonna copy those 2 layers, paste them, but now they're on the same layer. I don't want that. So I'm gonna right click, distribute to layers, makes an extra blank file, which I don't want, layer. I can then select both of these and then move them over where I want. Now I'm gonna draw the nose, which is just really normal looking pony mouth. And as I showed before, we can drill inside, double click inside, get to the mouth, and then we can draw whatever we want in here. We're gonna delete it and onion skin here. So now I have a vision of the past, and if I had more, I can see the future. The frames for animation, so I might go in and make like, I don't know, maybe different kind of shape. And now, so now I have 2 options with this mouth. You could either be like a little smiley face or a little sad face. Something like that. And if I don't want it to play, if I extend the exposure here, blur that out, sometimes this might happen. Well, we don't want that to happen, so how do we fix that? We go back into properties, see this looping little folder here, right at the open at, it says loop. We want it to be single frame. That's all these should be. So go in here in single frame. So now when we play, this is plain, it will stay on the single frame of what we wanted. And again, if we wanted it to be on that second one, we can click there, either type into or press up on the arrow keys, and now we got 2, and now it'll stay as 2 for the whole exposure of the animation. Get rid of that so I don't have other symbols have too many frames, and then we're just kind of building it up per feature that we have. So I want to fill this bottom is not going to connect, so I'm gonna hold Alt and then press the one that you want to see everything but that. Press the line tool, which is here. I also press N for line, I guess that's what they're going for. And then we can see the color, which is there. Stroke length or width, different caps, square, meter, whatever you want. Just get it dragged across both of these, and I can click on the middle of it. This creates this cool kind of curvature. I don't want that fill color, so see everything again. Grab that color with the paint bucket, click here on it, then I'm just gonna double click on the straight on the line and then click delete, and there we go. Paint bucket again, click on the layer that you want. Whoop, it's looking pretty good. Just click on the layer name here, F8, pony ear graphic. Now I'm seeing that this little white dot, you can see that, this little white dot here is in the direct center of the graphic. This is the anchor point, or where the center of rotation is. So we can see that this is all rotating along from the center of rotation of that circle. But what if I wanted it to rotate center of rotation from somewhere else? We can easily select the graphic, click right on the circle, and then drag it wherever we want. You can either be outside, and it'll go whoop whoop, because that's now the center of where it'll rotate around. So I'll bring it back, maybe bring it down right around there. And then we can see like this highlights to be the little rotating around circle, and then I can just hold and drag, and now it's rotating around there, and that's a little better. That's basically what all public rigging is now. It's now going back in and saying where I should rotate things. Like, some of these don't really matter because they're not going to be rotating. We're going to put all these inside of a folder, so putting the skull, if I put it in here, it's just going to rotate like that and not carry the other parts. So what if we want to just have the head and then move that around and have everything else move along with it? We can click and then either hold shift or hold control and then click on the other parts that we want. Here we go. I'm going to right click and copy layers. Go into insert, new symbol, control F8, keyboard shortcut. Gonna type pony head all graphic. Okay. Right click, paste layers. Won't see anything right now. It just creates its empty layer for no reason. I don't really like that, so I'll just get rid of that. I can zoom out a bit. For some reason, it's now over here. And where are we? We're in like this weird separate void, separate from everything else. It's like having a null object and then zooming inside of that in its own space where we can still play around with all these. So we can still select things and change things from here. But if we ever want to go back, we can go back here, scene 1, resetted the stage. So now we're back where we were. But now we have all these separate things here. So we'll create a new layer again. Go back to library. Here it is, pony head all. It's highlights for you. Drag it into the stage. You can either drag from the picture here, or I think you can even drag from the label here. We'll just get rid of those. And these little lines on the edges will show up, telling you how to align. Like now it's aligned to the right edge or the left edge. And let's get kind of close enough. You can't be perfect with it. We're using those little helper lines. Rename it. And spelling. There we go. I'm gonna hide that, the one that we just saw, to get rid of all of our separate items that we made in trash. And now we got this really cool symbol now that we can put the anchor of rotation down there. We can move that around somewhere else. If we need to, we can keep adjusting that as much as we want. Then we're gonna double click inside. Now it says pony head all, and now we have all the different parts that are still editable. And I'm gonna add F5 to add exposure. So now we have time in here now. Each of these little segments as I go across are one frame. We are at 24 frames per second. That's standard for like TV animation. I'm gonna go back out to scene 1. Add the same amount or less. You want the inner inside. Anytime that you go inside, you want more frames or the same as outside. Otherwise it'll like loop. Say that this is only like 4 frames, but outside here's 20. Every 4 frames then it'll loop and go back to the beginning of this one. So you want more in here than the outside. This is getting more into animation. Next thing I could do is, could have done this earlier as well, but with the flexibility I can still go in and add stuff like this. I'm not going to add eyelashes to this one because we want it to be separate in case we want it to be these eyelashes to look different or another reason. Press F8. This is pony eyelash. We'll call this something that differentiates from this eye to this eye. In this case, this one is a 3/4, so I can either say left or right if it's front face, or close and far for that. The center point is a little over there. Double click inside. Now F7 to create a blank keyframe. Boop. Onion skin, don't really need it right now. But right now I'm going to make a blink. So I'm just going to draw with my different brush and line tools. So right here I'm just going to expand and curve these lines. So now we have eyelash, it blinks, and then I can hold Alt, drag this frame to the other side, add some exposure like that. Boop. I usually have it like at 15 frames, and then have it close for maybe like 2 or 3 frames, and then have it go out to like 25. So now if we go back out, zoom out, play it with either display or inner. Whoop. Now we can see that it blinks. This is below the pupil, so I'm going to drag it right up, and now that's better. See how it was layered below it so we can see this symbol. So I dragged it up in a hierarchy, and now it's like that. And I can keep going and adding more, like maybe like add more mouth shades as before, or more blinks as in this one, where this one has like about 30 mouth frames, and then the eyelashes have a bit more quality to them. We also have bottom eyelashes, which are on a different layer. So some characters don't have bottom eyelashes, so I put them on a different layer so I can just, first just get rid of them, and then for the whole thing I don't have to worry about them. as I change them. The other thing that might be useful is if you have you make a base version like this, and if I want to say, oh, I want this gray here to be yellow, I can go in here, do Control F. That brings up find and replace. Control plus F, just where the little keyboard combo. Now I can say it to be color. I want it to find in this document this shade and pigment, and then I can click here and then change it to be whatever I want. I wanted that yellow, a little light yellow, and then replace all. And so that looked inside of the library, and every time in the library it found this pigment, it replaced it with this other pigment. We can do text, font, symbol, stuff. Symbol will probably replace every symbol in here with the name that you want with the other symbol. So that's probably not too useful. Let's make you happy, because you did it. Okay, I think that's pretty much the basics of it. Besides, if you need to know how to like draw things with the Flash stuff or with the other types of tools. When I draw, I usually use, as you saw, like the brush tool, which is this one, which in some art styles, you know, works good, but it's really finicky and you can't really change the arcs as easy. Like I wanted it to look more like this kind of arc. Instead I got like this. To get that kind of a shape when it was like this in a brush tool, you can see like it created like I could hold A, and now I got all these, every little circle or square here is a anchor point, so it will take me like a couple minutes to maybe like make that kind of a different kind of angle. So for sketching it's real quick because it's like using a pencil to just draw something. But I would, my experience, I would, if I wanted to draw something, you know, clean, like MLP would draw, I might sketch something like real quick, and then make a new layer, lock it, and then go in, and this is like a circle, so I'll just make a circle, and then draw the circle, and then fill it with a color. That was my base, that was my sketch, so I'm just gonna trash it. And now I have this, which is optimal with the amount of anchor points than the one that I drew. Something like this, which has, this is the outer points, and then it has the inner points too. While the line tool will only have this many points to it. I think that's about it. So if you have any more specific questions, you know, don't be afraid to ask. Bye.